Welcome back to The Real Deal, everybody. This is Doug Cooke, your favorite talk show host. And I'm here to talk about the real deal. What is the real deal, you ask? Well, to answer that question, let's look at the other news media that's available in today's society. First of all, you have ABC, the American Broadcasting of Communist System. You have CBS, Communist Broadcasting System. You have NBC, National Broadcasting of Communism. You have the Communist News Network, British Broadcasting of Communism. And then, of course, you have Fairfax Public Access, which allows all kinds of speech, free speech, communist or not. And then, finally, you have the real deal. That's what I am, the real deal. No communism, no bias. My only bias is pro-American and anti-communism. If you can call that a bias, so be it. But that's how it is. And we'd like to hear your thoughts. Doug at therealdealpolitics.com, and see what you have to say about the show and how we're doing there. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get with the news. Let's see what the Dow Jones has been doing recently. Have a snapshot of it October 21st. As you can see, it went down quite a bit over the last few months. We know we've had bailout issues and we've had this and that. And then the last couple weeks, since all that bailout and the economic doom and gloom and the sky is falling, whatever else has happened, we know there's a big lending crisis. It's gone down, but then it went back up, and then it went down, and it's had some pretty drastic day-to-day swings. But if you look at the median of that, it seems to have stabilized right around that 9,000 line, it looks like to me. And of course, that's very tiny figure there. It looks like it's stabilized around 9,000. It's hard to tell, hard to keep up with it nowadays. It keeps going up and down, up and down. But that's where we're at. And so I think it's going to get better. It'll stabilize and it'll start going up again at some point. It always does. May go back down again first. You never know. That's why stocks are a gamble, just like any other gamble. Stocks. Let me tell you about stocks just briefly. Stocks were designed for rich investors, for rich people to get richer off the backs of poor people. And if you happen to be one of the lower middle class investors that happens to ride up that wave with them while the rich people are getting really rich off these things, then you did a good job. In this case, we ride down the wave. If you have your stocks and the rich people jump off the wave, get back on the beach while we drown in the wave. So that's kind of what's happening now. We're kind of drowning in that wave of the Dow Jones. If you have a lot of money in stocks, if you have your 401k, whatever, as a lower middle class investor. We had a new segment this week. It's called Idiot of the Week. Not going to pull any punches here, but I'll tell you who it is after you listen to the audio. So go ahead and listen to this audio real quick.
Mark my words, it will not be 6 months before the world tests Barack Obama like they did John Kennedy. The world is looking. We're about to elect a brilliant 47-year-old president of the United States of America. Remember I said standing here, you don't remember anything else I said. Watch, we're going to have an international crisis, a generated crisis, to test the mettle of this guy. And he's going to have to make some really tough. I don't know what the decision is going to be. But I promise you it will occur. As a student of history and having served with 7 presidents, I guarantee you it's going to happen. I can give you at least 4 or 5 scenarios from where it might originate.
Did I hear that correctly? Did Senator Joe Biden just guarantee an international crisis if we elect Obama and him to the presidency? I don't know if that's irresponsible or what. I know he just recently got out of a national security meeting with the FBI where they were going over things with both of the presidential candidates, making sure they're up to speed on all the national security issues. I just think, I don't know, if there's going to be a crisis, if he's going to be tested because, as Biden says, he's young and he's 47 years old and he's brilliant and whatever else, if that's why he's going to be tested, then wouldn't we be better off electing somebody that's not going to be tested? Maybe a solid veteran that doesn't really back down to other people's bullying of him? I don't know. just something to think about. Let's look at the polls, see where the national polls are at this week. Well, not a big surprise there. Obama's in the lead. You got several different polls there. National average, Obama 50, McCain 43. You can see all the little different numbers on all the different polls on these charts here. And what's interesting also is that Irish bookies have already paid out on, some of them have already paid out on Obama winning the presidency, as if it already happened. I just think that's retarded. I mean, that's like paying off futures bets on the New England Patriots winning the Super Bowl this year, which they did not, as we all know. They lost to the New York Giants, as improbable as that may have seemed to many people, including me. But I knew it wasn't impossible. So if Obama is ahead by 7 points average in these polls, then, why do we have Acorn registering thousands of fraudulent Democrat voters in the name of trying to elect Obama, if he's already got this under control? Let's look at the Acorn problem. They're under investigation in 13 states, all swing states. Acorn registered over 1.27 million voters. The entire Dallas Cowboys team was registered in Vegas. Crack cocaine was exchanged for one voter registrant who was to go around and register fraudulent voters. Among the registries were second graders, children, dead people, and Disney characters. One man admitted on the news that they registered him 73 times. I believe he was one of the homeless men. And 7 workers registered over 2,000 bogus voters in Washington State, and this was just settled in court recently. Why does Obama need all this help in swing states with fraudulent voter registrations from Acorn if it's going to be a landslide, if it's 7 point advantage, something a little bit fishy going on? Why am I blaming this on Obama and Acorn connection? Let's look at the Acorn connection. Acorn endorsed and volunteered in Obama's Illinois campaigns. Obama is a former Acorn trainer and legal counsel. Obama campaign donated $800,000 to Acorn in their recent Senate campaign for their Get Out the Vote effort, and in return, Acorn got him the Senate seat, credits themselves for obtaining the Senate seat for Obama, saying it was due to their Get Out the Vote efforts in these various jurisdictions where they registered a lot of voters. I mean, it's typical Chicago politics. Typical Chicago dirty politics. This is where it all goes down. Fraudulent politics, fraudulent votes. This is where they bought elections before. They've been bought and sold. What is Acorn? To go to that, let's start with the acronym Association of Community Organizations for Reform. This is a radical organization that succeeded the 1960s New Left and the NWRO. The large majority of voters are obviously Democrats that are, I say voters in quotation marks, because this is, they're not necessarily all voters. A lot of them are just fraudulent voter registrations. But they are definitely Democrat, very liberal, Democratic leaning, and they get 40% of their revenue from taxpayers to do this. So if you don't happen to agree with their side of the political spectrum, how do you feel about that? They fraudulently register voters nationwide, and then if you contradict them on that, if you tell them that they're wrong for fraudulently registering voters, they accuse you of suppressing the vote. So if you want to suppress fraudulent votes, then that's a real problem with them, I guess.